Hello everyone, and welcome back to the new speaker session of the DaeDarus Hack. So, today we have three most beautiful and handsome people from immersive search. So, let me just give a brief description what is immersive search. Their mission is to provide an exceptional XR talent to the business across the globe, and they have industry leading expertise on VR, AR, mixed reality, web XR, and cloud XR technologies as well. So today we have Emilios, Rajat, and Shitanshu with us to tell what is immersive search, what are the necessary steps we need to become an AR/VR developer, and and a look into the day of life of a lead engineer.
Thank you.
So just to be clear, immersive search is like a separate entity. I'm not a part of it right now. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajat. Animesh, thank you for the kind introduction. We just like to say on behalf of myself, Rajat and Chitanshu, a big thank you to the Microsoft Student Ambassadors community, the Microsoft Student Ambassadors, KIIT, and the whole DaeDarus Hack team for allowing us to be a part of this fantastic session. My name's Emilios. I'm a co-founder and specialist XR recruiter for Immersive Search, where we have three key missions. Connect AR/VR talent to businesses across the globe via our streamlined platform, support professionals who want to upskill in this area via our training providers, and work with educational institutions to create clear pathways for students to enter the industry. And what I'm going to do is just quickly give a quick introduction on who we are and what we do in terms of immersive search.
Sure.
If you could share the slide, please.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess it's visible.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
As well.
Fantastic. Yeah, so immersive search. Our slogan is connecting experiences globally. You know, we want to somehow be able to support people on their mission for more deeper and more engaging experiences. About us. So, although me personally, I have 15 years of experience in recruitment, it's mainly telecommunications. In the last 10 months, we've been focused on AR/VR, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to so many people through these challenging times on a day-to-day basis to understand exactly what people do, how we can help them, and how we can move forward together as a community. Who's the team? So, it's myself. I'm a specialist recruiter and co-founder. I'm directly responsible for finding talent for businesses, supporting talent through that process, and establishing relationships with new businesses. My co-founder and operations director is Mariam Dimitriou. Both of us are based in London. Mariam is the glue who holds everything together. She nurtures our talent base, and she promotes best practice, equality, diversity, and inclusion among our staffing clients. Now, Jason is our growth advisor. He's based in Singapore, and he strategically supports us with our expansion plans into new continents. And look, if you look at the three of us ourselves, we've been involved in large-scale recruitment and retention campaigns across the Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific and Africa. So we're well diverse to dealing with complicated and also localized staffing solutions. Areas we specialize in: virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, gaming and haptics, and WebXR. Now, virtual reality, think of it as, a fully artificial environment, fully immersed in virtual environments. Could be connected to a PC or a standalone headset. Augmented reality, think of it as, virtual objects overlaid on real world environments, and then real world enhanced with digital objects. Think portable devices, smart glasses, AR headsets. Mixed reality, virtual environments combined with the real world. That allows you to interact with both the real world and virtual environments. Think holographic devices, such as the Microsoft HoloLens 2, immersive devices such as Windows mixed reality headsets. And yeah, WebXR, just think about rendering 3D content on the web. And as we see at the moment, there's a huge demand globally when it comes to professionals who are able to support those technical requirements. Now, virtual reality use cases in terms of trends for this year: VR in training and education, accurate learning without risk, VR aided retail shopping, retail at home, consumer entertainment, allowing you to experience reality remotely, online collaboration, social VR, tourism and travel, advertising with VR going native. You've got new gaming VR applications, and let's face it, VR makes games better. VR's reshaping the automotive industry with self-driving cars. You've got VR and AI in apps, AI with vision, and then you've got mixed reality headsets. Okay, now AR glasses, AR sports, could be broadcasting in game stadium experiences, in the classroom. It could be smartphones, which are a valuable tool for out of school learning experiences, as it's even a struggle to get into class these days, so it ensures that learning isn't disrupted. If you look at the automotive industry, in cars now, you're able to get real-time data from your GPS about road conditions, hazards, mechanical issues, which improve safety. If you look at being at home, if you want to work out, you've got real-time workout performance data, including speed and distance. Gyms can use AR to assist members on equipment and virtual training. And then medicine, assisting in emergency, blood draws, improving diagnosis. So that can also benefit doctors and patients, okay? And if we look at WebXR, in terms of some of the notes I've got here, WebXR device, it allows you to develop and host VR and AR experiences on the web, okay? So if we're taking that into a VR context, supporting rendering 3D scenes to hardware design for presenting virtual worlds, for AR, adding graphical imagery to the real world. So, things are moving quickly, and these are the areas that we specialize in terms of providing candidates and consultation services. Yeah, please continue to the next slide. Thank you. So services. So contract. A lot of the time, our clients have short-term related project assignments. It could be anywhere from 1 month to 2 months to even 3 months. In that case, we would try to find candidates who are ready and willing to accept, short-term project demands and then move on to the next project. Permanent offerings are longer term. That's when we really dig deep, understand, who we're working with, the organization, who they are as people, what their mission is, and what their culture is. And then once we have a deeper understanding of that, we can then look to try and headhunt candidates within our community whose needs are in line with our clients, and talent retention. It's a big issue because at the moment there's a lot of demand. There aren't enough candidates with the required technical skills available. So organizations have a big challenge to keep hold of the best people. And that's going back to our point where organizations need to ensure that staff are happy. And, when you've got happy family, people don't necessarily want to leave. So that's a little bit of information in terms of our service offering. Why work with us? Look, here's a list of reasons for why we think you should work with us. Why are we different? We all speak to people individually, whether it's candidates, whether it's clients. We have personable relationships. What that means is we take time to understand who you are as a human being and where you want to go. And then what we then do is try to match you with opportunities to do that. Another thing that we do, which is quite unique, is we create our own job specs. As let's face it, we're working in a world where there's no universal language for what roles look like. There aren't real defined guidelines for how the softwares are designed or developed. And there aren't any real clear pathways to get into the industry. So there's a lot of work that gets done in the consultation process to ensure that we're adding value throughout the whole process. Okay, we offer a 7-day-a-week global reach, and candidates are able to apply for roles directly on our website. So we have a job board which is integrated into our website, which is specifically related for XR professionals. So if you ever have any questions, reach out to us. It's not a case of, if you see any roles on the website which are slightly too senior and you feel like you still need some advice, just reach out to us, send us your profile. We'll have a 30-minute chat about your portfolio or how we can help you with a portfolio. And then we can try to see how we can move together. But what we want to do is create a stronger, more personable candidate experience. Candidates are fed up, human beings are fed up of just applying for roles and not hearing anything back. They feel like they're just chumping their CVs into dark holes and not getting anything. We guarantee feedback and guarantee a conversation. So we're always available to speak where we can. So causes of AR skills gap. So touching on the point I made earlier, lack of talent, low return on investment from businesses and skills development perspectives, no feedback from recruiters, which we touched on previously. Getting out of the comfort zone is scary, and obviously the ongoing pandemic. Now, I wanted to touch on the skills gap. So it's something that we've addressed to serve the community. And one way we have addressed this is by collaborating with XR Bootcamp, who are a leading education provider in the XR space. They're reinforcing in-depth learning through hands-on real-world objects. And they've even got foundation courses available for XR design and management, XR prototyping, and developer tracking. So look, let's face it, there are many learning tools available. You've got YouTube, you've got Udemy, research papers, universities, forums, Stack Overflows, Discords. But, a lot of businesses now are looking for people with, rapid prototyping experience. And because there's a lack of internship opportunities available, there's only so much you can source for free, that could be an option in order to upskill. In terms of skill sets, so if we're strictly speaking AR/VR types of skills we see lacking in the industry where there's a huge demand is avatars, interaction design, rendering and optimization, holographic interfaces, shaders, rapid prototyping, network architecture, source code development, and asset creation. In terms of roles, typically we work, I'd say that, software development, managerial level, technical artists, and mainly UI and UX designers. In terms of use cases, our clients normally training simulations, maintenance, BIM, architectural visualization, product visualization and configuration, and collaboration tools. And in terms of types of companies we tend to support, look, you've got enterprises, training, education, healthcare, and defense. Equipments are expensive. I was just going to make a point, Rajat, on the last one. If you could go back, please.
Does that sound glitch?
Yeah. Could you go? Okay, no, it's fine. We can rock on. Yeah. So yeah, not every developer wants to study design, and not every designer wants to study development. We want the audience to make sure that you remember these points, because we're going to touch on these points later on in the session. So remember, not every developer wants to study design, and not every designer wants to study development. Generalists who have an understanding of both design and development in AR/VR are unicorns for businesses. We also want you to think about that as well, because we're going to dig deeper on those 2 points later on. So look, how is our recruitment process different? We understand businesses require AR/VR generalists or specialists. Now we have a candidate list of, now you're looking at over 6,500 talented XR technologists. These are technologists that we as a team have all spoken to individually in the last 10 months, okay? We call and speak to them individually rather than sending you random resumes, and we redirect candidates to upskill. So it's not just a case of traditional recruitment where it's placement, contract, and permanent. You've got recruitment, contract, and permanent. You also have upskilling, you have retention, and then you have, on an ad hoc basis, you have AR/VR technical writing, design and prototyping. So we're trying to support the community as much as we can by offering, by having these offerings available. And these are, just some of the brands we work with. So like I mentioned previously, you have education providers, you have leaders in healthcare, training, and production there, as well as some universities that we've collaborated historically and are continuing to do so as we speak. Reach out to us, okay? We're available 7 days a week. If you want to get involved in the industry, if you have just any related questions, just reach out to us, okay? Hit us up and we'll make 30 minutes to speak. Thank you. Thank you for letting us speak.
Thank you, Emilios. So we have got quite a number of questions in our chat. So the first is from Arnab. He is asking, what's the scope of AR and XR outside the gaming?
Okay, so in terms of outside gaming, you have education. You have, so in terms of education, you've got anytime, anywhere teaching, for example. You have collaboration platforms which allow students to be able to connect with each other in virtual environments to have more meaning and deeper educational experiences. If we look at training, you have a number of platforms which allow people to study remotely. If you look at the automotive industry. You have you've got AR and VR being used for cars, autonomous vehicles. So there are use cases at the moment crossing many industries. So yeah, there are many more to speak, and we're happy to connect one-on-one to discuss that in more detail, as we have quite a lot of information and insights which we can share with anyone who's interested on any further information, whether it's gaming, education, training, telecommunications, manufacturing, and architecture, engineering, and construction, to name a few.
Oh, so
And we'll put the what I'll do is I'll put our email addresses in the chat box. So if anyone just wants to get in touch with us directly, they're able to, no problem.
sure. So the next question that we have is the same application in military training too, as you have said that it has a scope outside of the gaming. So can it be used in military training and military applications also?
So please repeat the question.
Nishant is asking that can it AR VR also be used in military training as well, as you said that it's the
Yeah. So
applications
I'll
of
give you
AR is
yes, I'll give you an example. The US government recently signed a multi-billion pound deal with Microsoft HoloLens for their mixed reality headset devices. Those devices are used for training the military at the moment. So yes, it's defense is certainly an industry which are using these technologies, and there are more use cases coming, of course.
So the next question we have that is how to get started with AR VR. How to
Okay,
just get
fantastic. That's a good question. So, Rajat's going to dig deep into steps to get into the industry. But look, one thing we want to say is, join communities. Okay, there are lots of AR, VR communities which are available. Whether it's the Discord groups, Facebooks, Twitter feeds, and news feeds. The more networks you get yourself involved in, the more access to information and support you tend to get. Because one thing you'll realize, and I'm sure everyone will agree with me, is the fact that the community is so special. Everyone is pretty much willing to help each other. We remember when we first started and we were learning as we went along, and we were honest enough to say, please, can you help us? We need to understand it a little bit more, and people do. Rajat and Shitanju being two examples of people who have, helped us in our journey. So, yeah.
Okay, so I think I'll get started with the steps to become an AR/VR developer.
Cool.
And
Thanks,
with
Rajat.
all the technical guides and whatever you want, right? So, all right, let me just share my screen. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. And let's get started. So just a little bit about me. I'm Rajat. I work as a software engineer at Recruitment. Previously, I have worked with Immersive Search as well as in XR Bootcamp as a mentor. Apart from that, I've also published a research paper with senior researchers from IIIT Hyderabad, a bunch of other stuff and internships, multiple things that I've done in my previous 4 years as an undergraduate. So yeah, and I also have a YouTube channel where I create videos related to AR VR as well as 3D programming. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm not going to cover too much about me. Let's jump into something that you want. So you want to work as an AR VR developer in a company, right? So let's say let's take a look at some of the job descriptions that are already there in the industry, right? So I went I went online and I searched on LinkedIn, I searched on job portals, and then I collected a lot of information. So like these are what are the requirements that you need, right? So just look at the words over here, right? Unity, Unreal, 3D engines, C Sharp, rapid prototyping, UI UX design, AR SDKs, AR code, Foria, similar tools, and then OpenGL, Metal. These are all graphics APIs, right? Now, what you'll notice is that if I go to the next slide, this was another it was another job role in the same company. Again, it was related with AR VR, right? Again, you'll see you see 3D or AR VR applications. You see iOS frameworks. Now that's different. That is completely iOS development, and that is not something that I'm going to talk about. But if you do have mobile development knowledge, that will be helpful. We'll see that in the later section of this whole the session that I'm taking. Again, you see C++, programming languages, then Unity, Unreal, 3D Engine, 3D math skills, again ARKit, AR Code, Foria, similar skills, and it's just repeating itself. And if I go into different more job portals, I mean, if you see more job roles, you notice these words getting attention again and again, right? So the thing is, so I collected all this, and this is how it looks like. Like you need to have programming knowledge in C Sharp, C++. You need to have 3D math and linear algebra knowledge. Your computer graphics knowledge should be good. Unity game engine, AR, VR, SDKs, and then you should have a portfolio. All right. Now let's, in case you are completely new, let's just understand these things one by one. All right. So let's say if you want to learn programming, C Sharp and C++, you are in a university. You already have a bachelor's degree. You're already doing that. You're studying that, right? So you practice your DSA problems using C++ when you're preparing for placements. It's not super. I won't say it is super important. The skills that you learn in DSA, of course, are can be used in multiple different fields. But my point is here that is, you just need to practice enough that you know C++ definitely. All right. So you need to be comfortable using C++, and then you learn Unity and C Sharp simultaneously by building games. Once you have C++ knowledge, you have that programming foundation level knowledge, you can then jump into Unity and C Sharp. So it will be easier once you learn C++. C Sharp won't be a lot of challenge or anything. It's just once you get those programming foundations, you can jump into other languages easily. All right, then you want to learn Unity. All right, here what you do is, while you're learning Unity, there are many concepts in Unity that you will learn when you learn Unity, right? So there's rigid body physics, rigid body mechanics, and physics game engine. Like how is the physics inside that game engine being used, and like how can you use colliders and stuff? Like these might sound Greek to you, probably you won't understand right now. But next thing is, like, you need to combine all that basics of Unity and then create simple 2D games, or like develop an FPS game, mini games for mobile and Android and iOS. So first, when you're jumping into game development, you're developing it for desktop. All right, then you jump into creating games for mobile, right? So because once you learn creating games for mobile, you know how you can code in your phone. Like how do you develop games for mobile, and how to develop screens in mobile, tons of other stuff. When you have that canvas scaling option in Unity, there's a lot of things that you can do that can make your game not just a hit on desktop, but can also make it a hit on mobile. Of course, there's a lot of optimization involved, and that's a whole different topic altogether. But I'm not going into that. But yes, once you have a popular game, or you already know some popular game, you can make a simple augmented reality clone of that game. So what I did over here, how many of you have played Fruit Ninja? So Fruit Ninja is a really special game. It's a really popular game. How many of you have played it? Type yes if you have played it in the comments below. In the comments.
I will just start the poll for that. Otherwise, people will spam.
Okay, okay, good. All right. So if you have played Fruit Ninja, this is what Fruit Ninja looks like in in augmented reality. So what is happening over here? The fruits are popping up from the floor below, and you can actually swipe. You can just use something called a litho controller. Litho is a different device, but you can use it to slice those fruits, right? And it's pretty fun. It's a game, right? So it's like Fruit Ninja. It's a clone of Fruit Ninja in augmented reality. So it was fun to develop, right? So this was like one project that I worked on. But now, once you have all these games and Unity games as well as AR VR games with you, what you can do is create a portfolio. Now, how do you create a portfolio? Simple, right? You record clips of your game, just like I did. I recorded the clip of my game. I uploaded them on YouTube. Then I started sharing those clips across social media, across all my social media accounts, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm not on Facebook, but Twitter and LinkedIn rather. And then what I did was I started. You can also like write articles and case studies for those games, like how did you create that game, or what that game is actually doing, or even if you're making any application, right? So how is that working out? So I have collected all the games and like all my AR VR experiences and put it in my one compilation video. So obviously these are all available on my YouTube channel. So what I'm trying to say is that once you have these games, you collect all of them, and once you have the clips across social media, you start writing documentation or like case studies for those games, like how did you make it, what technologies did you use inside of Unity, which package did you use, or just explain your experience, how was it, right? So you can either choose to publish the article on Medium, or you can go ahead and use Google Docs. If you want to make it public, you can use Medium. If you want to keep it private, if you want to just bring it up during with your recruiters, then you can use Google Docs, right? And then just export it as a PDF so that you can just give it to your recruiters, right? All right, and then if you do have time, you can develop your own website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript or WordPress. Like your website should be like a landing page for all your projects, all your achievements, wherever you have your work experience, your internships, your hackathons, everything should be in that website, right? So like my website is also there.
Sorry, Rajat, I was going to say, what I've done is we've just posted some links in the comments section for Rajat's YouTube channel, so you can see his fantastic work, and also some examples of portfolios, so the audience can just get some extra information to help them. Cheers, Rajat.
I have actually done that. Like I will mention about my YouTube channel and my articles later in this video, but thanks a lot for doing that already. Okay, so going on, once you have the portfolio, two things will happen, all right? Either the companies will reach out to you, or you have to reach out to the companies. It's simple. Like this is the basic, either the companies see your work and someone from that company will reach out to you. And this has happened to me many times. I have published my, whatever I have learned or whatever I'm doing. It's called learning in public strategy. Whatever I'm doing, like let's say character animations, all right, that was something that I was learning back in 2019, I guess. And then I made a project with it, just a simple prototype. where I show a character which is animating in AR VR in AR, and one of the companies, they reached out to me just because they had seen that experience and they wanted that same kind of experience in their own application. So that is when they reached out to me and asked me how to do that, and then there was I landed an internship offer as well as other freelance work as well as contract work and so many different things. So that's what is happening. It's like, it's also called pull marketing, where if you have something good, people are already attracted to it, and then once they want that thing to be implemented, they will definitely give you a shout out as well as reach out to you, right? Or the next thing is, of course, you can reach out to companies yourself. You go to the companies, you check their job portals, you go to LinkedIn, you go to jobs, and you see what are the companies that are hiring for AR VR. You simply once you are there, you just upload your all the information that is required from the company, right? Of course, if you are already a web or mobile or a game developer, this is the video that you should check out, because this is where I go in deep, where like how can a web developer get started in AR VR, how can a mobile developer get started in AR VR, as well as how a game developer can get started in AR VR. Now, I saw one of the questions like where you mentioned how is AR VR implemented in something different than gaming. So that's a very good question, to be honest, because app development versus game development, both are very different. You need to have, since I have done both, I can understand what is the difference, but like going into that depth will be a bit too much here. But I have written articles for that to answer that very question. Like you can definitely check out my 9 must-have skills to become an AR VR developer, which is published in AR VR Journey magazine as well as Hackernoon. Both are leading tech publications. And definitely, like, you can check out my other articles as well. These are just 2 articles that I picked out. You can obviously check out all the articles on nightcube.medium.com. Okay. And yeah, that's it. But so here's the summary. All right. You basically, what did I say? Step 1 is learn basic programming in C++. Step 2 is learn how to build games using C# and Unity. Step 3, you learn how to create AR VR experiences using AR VR SDKs. What are AR VR SDKs? Euphoria, Wikitude, AR Code, AR Kit, AR Foundation. There's so many, right? Then you build projects or you prototypes. You record clips of your projects and you share it across all social media networks. That's your portfolio. And then you can create your website. You can create a website, and then you can start applying to jobs. Right. All right. So this was like a very, I would say, surface level AR VR. It's not really the technicalities. I mean, I'm just telling you to learn Unity. Now, inside Unity also, there's something called Unity Profiler tools, which is used to analyze your game, analyze the frame rate of your game, and then customize your game optimize your game according to the devices that that game will run on, right? Because on mobile, the optimization parameters will be different. On VR, it will be different. So that's how it is. All right, so things to keep in mind. Now, this is the most important part of my whole presentation. See, right now, you might be in your first year, second year, third year, or fourth year, right? See, web development or mobile development. Now, these are like your core software engineering domains, all right? They have a relatively easier learning curve. I mean, I'm not saying it's very easy or anything. It's I just have a very generic idea of web development and mobile development. I have done internships, I have been to hackathons, and I have created web apps as well as mobile apps as well as AR VR apps. But what I want to say is that if you choose web development or mobile development, you learn something called design patterns and OOP principles, which those need to be applied in your app, while you're making that app, you need to learn those, right? So that takes some time, right? So you need to have that practice. If you can't do that, if you can't implement the programming parts, becoming an AR VR software engineer should not be your goal. You become a software engineer first and then explore AR VR, right? So I'll tell you one thing more. If you're learning programming for the first time, as an undergraduate, if it's the first time you are learning programming, do not think about AR VR. Choose a field like web development, because it's easier and it also uses less resources than game development. So, but someone who has, like me, I had started programming in ninth grade, and there may be many of you who might have started it in ninth grade or maybe 11th grade. So if you have that kind of programming knowledge, then you may go into AR VR. But I would still request to go for web development first or mobile development first, and then jump into AR VR, right? Because core software engineering principles are required in any domain. Even if you want to go into blockchain, all right, blockchain development, software engineering knowledge should be there. If you do not have those design patterns knowledge, or how to use object oriented or programming well, that won't be useful. So again, yeah, just reiterating over here, learn and apply object oriented programming and design patterns in your projects. This only improves with practice, and a lot of practice. Okay, so once you have a job, right, once you have an AR VR software engineering job, you go deeper into learning the lower level graphics APIs like OpenGL. Now OpenGL is a beast. Trust me, like I'm having a very hard time understanding it and trying to make my own projects with OpenGL. You need to have a strong foundation in computer graphics and 3D mathematics before learning OpenGL. There's a book, just like you have a CLRS book for algorithms. Intro to Algorithms is the book by Corman, right? CLRS. It's called the Bible of data structures and algorithms, right? Now OpenGL has its own Bible. It's called OpenGL Super Bible. I do not remember the exact name of the book, but I have it linked in my Notion page. Anyway, that's a different topic altogether. And how you learn computer graphics, 3D mathematics, that's again a whole topic in itself. Right? As someone who is from India, you already know 3D mathematics to a good level. You have already practiced during your JE days and in your 11 and 12, right? So you have basic idea of vectors. But that won't be enough, because when you're learning 3D mathematics for games, you get to learn something about quaternions. And trust me, I seriously feel that anyone who has actually even studied quaternions will still not be able to describe quaternions very well. It's that complicated to explain. All right. But yeah, that if like once you understand and you try to implement it in the game, it becomes really useful. And a great OpenGL project will be something like creating your own rendering engine. That's very I still haven't created a rendering engine myself, but I'm still trying to get there, and I'm still learning a lot of these things so I can create that. Okay, so this was like once you have a job, right? But if you do not have a job, don't even think about this. Like, don't even get into OpenGL, computer graphics, and 3D mathematics. If you have passion, if you really want to, sure, you're welcome. I mean, I can't stop you then, right? Okay, and yes, a lot of R&D. Seriously. So I still remember, like, I have spent around 18 hours trying to fix a problem, and I couldn't get any answer in the whole, like I couldn't get what was the problem. And when, after, doing a lot of research, online, I was going to forums and I was checking out the different, the Stack Overflow, Unity forums, as well as some of my colleagues, senior colleagues in the AR/VR industry, they couldn't figure out it either. And all I saw, and what happened was later on, I realized that the bug got fixed itself by updating that particular technology that I was using. So that particular package, rather, right? They fixed that bug in that package that I was using. So, I wasted around 18 hours, and afterwards I realized that it was not my fault. It was the fault of the whole library itself. And the library was developed by a big person, not a big person, rather a big company, right? So it's just it's definitely, it will take a lot of your time, and you will. It has happened to me. I used to dream about all these different AR VR projects, and that is why, like, I actually used to solve the bugs also in my dream. It happens. I mean, even Emilios can relate it to that, because like even he when we talk sometimes, he tells me that he's also seeing all these different AR VR projects that he has in his mind while dreaming.
Yeah,
So
and
that happens.
100%. And I think one thing we always say as well, like anything, is you need passion and commitment. You really do.
Yep.
Passion and commitment really are the fundamentals of really pushing yourself in this industry. Because let's face it, if you do have the opportunity to work in a startup environment, especially to get some exposure, you're going to have to wear many hats. Okay, many hats, more often than not. So what's really important is communication skill, being able to talk to people, communicate, and be honest with people, to ensure smooth workflows. But then, of course, the structure needs to be in place to be able to allow that. Another thing myself and Rajat discuss quite often as well is two things. We come across many students in India at the moment who, how do I say, they're not getting a lot of confidence from their parents when it comes to getting their approval to go into AR/VR. It's still relatively new, and let's face it, on a lot of projects, some projects there's a lack of research, no return on investment, and etc. But let's face it, it is the future, and according to PwC's latest report, AR and VR are going to add up to $1 trillion to the global economy by 2030. But I think in order to even try and take steps, you really need to have passion and commitment. Honestly, you really do. And I think if you have that, then I think as a global community, all we can do is collaborate to raise awareness. Okay. Raise awareness to parents, raise awareness to teachers, raise just awareness to people we know, slowly to show them the use cases and how these technologies are changing our lives in a very difficult climate for the better. Hopefully we can, move forward.
Yeah, and like regarding this passion thing, I still remember when in 2016, all right, I started as an undergraduate, and then I was exploring Android development. For 2 years, I did Android development. I did internships. I went to hackathons. I got a Google scholarship. I created projects that were, that actually one of the projects scaled to 5,000 users. So it's fine. Like that was done, but I was still not getting that, I don't know what to call it, that moment of spark or something. It's fine. I loved doing Android development till one point of time. But after that, as soon as I saw AR VR in 2018, Google I/O 2018 in Google Maps, that was the spark moment where I was completely addicted to AR VR, and I started exploring AR VR completely. Now, my story, if I jump into my story, I'll take a lot of Shitanshu's time, and I don't want to do that. I'm sure he must be really angry with me. So,
and also, I can
So,
relate to. One last thing I was going to say. I can relate to Rajat because the first time I put on a headset, okay, I'll never forget it. I put on a Quest 2, I had a storytelling experience. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was part of the story. It connected with me in so many ways, can't really describe, and that's another thing. A lot of work needs to be done at a global level to help students, especially in India, get access to devices. Because if we look at the cost of a Quest 2 and certain other devices, you're looking at double the cost
Yeah.
of how much it is in other parts of the world. So yeah, it's unfair, but hopefully more can be done so students and the younger generation coming through have access and can have these experiences.
By the way, when I got a job as a software engineer at Revit, um, even when I was, mentoring at XR Bootcamp, I did not have a VR device. I never had an Oculus. I just had one Google Cardboard that comes at like what 500, 600 rupees, and that is what I bought. That's it. Like I used to make small VR games on that, and a lot of AR. I have explored AR more than VR. So because AR is, I feel more interesting than VR. It's just because I still haven't got a chance to explore Oculus Quest 2, but hopefully I will be getting that as well soon. So
And
anyway, yeah, that's it for this session. If you have any questions, you're free to ask.
and
Yeah.
please make sure you check the comments tabs. There are links to Rajat's fantastic articles and contact information for how to get to us if you need any help. It's really, really important. There's some portfolio information as well as some industry trends which are hopefully helpful for your research for those interested.
So we have generally answered most of the questions during your uh, presentation through the comment section. But the two that we have right now is the first one is by Avi, that how much can AI in self-driving cars be helpful in increasing the safety on the road?
Uh, to be honest, like self-driving cars themselves don't feel very safe. uh, like you're talking about AR in self-driving cars. I'm just trying to understand what that means. What does
What
that feel like AR in self-driving cars?
I tell you one thing I can add though, in terms of AR in cars, real-time data from your GPS or about road conditions, hazards, or mechanical and improvement in safety. So you are able to get real-time data from your GPS via AR. So that could be an alternative.
Yeah, and the place where AR can be helpful when you are referring to safety, that the whole quotient of the whole space of AR VR is around building user experience and show visualization of complex data and abstract information that your brain can't perceive it normally. So we try to make it more interactive, more visually better. So when it comes to safety, definitely AR can help to show you visual cues, and those visual cues, for your brain, it will be much easier to digest. So even if you feel that your self-driving car is going through an area that shows intense traffic, you can switch driving from auto to manual. So yeah, any place where visualization is there, definitely AR can help a lot.
So the last question for this segment that we have is by Paulo. He's asking, do I need a VR device to start developing in this tech? Because he hasn't explored the VR previously.
You need a desktop with Unity. That's it. Just jump into Unity ASAP if you really want to get into AR VR, right? And I talked about all the different roadmaps. Like I also talked about software engineering, why it's more important than just jumping into AR VR, right? So make sure you keep those things in mind as well. To answer your question, no, you do not need a VR device to start developing AR VR applications. You just need Unity first and an AR supported phone. Augmented. My phone costs 10,000 rupees. So like that, I'm sure there are you know the cost of AR supported phones are lesser. Like I think minimum is 8,000 rupees. That is the minimum cost of an AR supported phone. But definitely, like you can get started in AR to develop, to explore AR. But for VR, um, you can get one device for like 500 to 600. It's called um, it's like the basic VR cardboard device, which supports the Google Cardboard SDK. You can just use your phone. You can use Google Cardboard to develop VR apps in your mobile phone, uh, and then in Unity, and then you can just place your phone in that VR headset, and then you can experience it wearing that VR headset, as well as you can also um, go into WebGL, or I mean, you can deploy web VR apps or games on the web using WebGL in Unity. So that can be done. And if you want to take the web development part, that is using a framework called 3.js. That's 3D programming, as well as tons of other stuff. There is you know like when do you need to use React framework or not? That is a completely different topic of discussion. Do you really need React framework or not? I'm not going to get into that because it depends on your requirements as well. But yes, to get started in VR, it's not completely necessary to have a VR device. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, I took too long.
So, Shahid is asking that do you have any good source to refer for AR VR tech?
I don't get the question. Good sources to refer for AR tech.
I guess he wants to know that what are the good resources that he can use to get started with AR VR.
Yeah, so on YouTube there is Dilmer's channel, Dilmer ARVR, Dilmer's game, Dilmer Balancilos. I do not have. You can just you can just I can give it to Animesh and he can give it to you.
Yeah, I will just add all
The
the
link.
links with into this description after this.
Yeah, that is just one channel. But you know what? While I was learning ARVR, it was very scattered. The whole learning experience itself is scattered. As in, each SDK has a documentation of its own. They have good documentation pages. They have examples in their documentation. That is what should be your first priority. I mean, your first documentation, your first resource is the official documentation of a particular ID or SDK that you're using, and then you can jump to different resources like on YouTube or on articles, Medium articles or something. That's it. Yeah. So that there's not one fully. I would say there's no silver bullet for everything, right? So I can't really recommend just one source for AR/VR yet.
Cool.
It's all scattered.
So moving on to then Shitanshu's session. I guess all the questions have been answered, and for the side, you can contribute to the DaeDarus Hack Open Innovation track or on the dev post. Once you register on the dev post, they ask what fields you are interested in. So if you select AR VR there, then it will pop up all the relative hackathons or the events that are happening on the day. Cool. I guess let's move forward.
Yeah, just I'm sharing my screen and yeah. Sorry, Shitanshu, I took too much of your time.
It's okay. It's awesome. So, good evening, everyone. I hope most of you are joining from India, so it's evening for you. And I am here to today speak you how a typical day looks for an AR/VR developer. So, just a brief background about me. Uh, like Rajat, I have been also been in the industry of this immersive and 3D experiences for very long, and I have been passionate about this topic as long as I can remember. So my journey started in the end of 2013, 2014 onwards. when people were learning web technologies, I was always aligned to see how a world in 3D will look like, and that's how I could got hooked to this technology. And my initial experiences was with a couple of indie studios. We did a couple of games for iOS and Play Store, but then later I got to started working with big firms like Deloitte, Pepsi, and due to the proprietary and data regulation things, I'm not allowed to share most of the content that I developed, so I can't directly tell you what I did there, but I can show you how a typical day looks. So if you see my desktop, I have a Oculus Quest with me. It's online. I have a Microsoft HoloLens with me. It's also online. And if I share my screen, let's see if share screen option is there.
Shitanshu, can we see the HoloLens again, please?
Yes, please. See,
I don't want to
this is
see
your
it now.
Microsoft HoloLens.
I don't want to see it now.
I've
I really
never,
want
I've,
it.
I've never had the opportunity to wear one before. That's
Oh
Yeah.
God. I
So it's
had an
all
opportunity, but
the
I had an opportunity to go to Washington and attend the Microsoft HoloLens 2 event as well as get, but for some reasons it wasn't possible. But anyway, yeah, go on, Shitanshu.
thank you for sharing that, Shitanshu.
and by the
Yeah.
way, I have heard this device a lot. Like there are around 10 to 12 apps builds deployed on this every day.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and if I turn this around, so I have generally people put multiple monitors. So this is, if you can see, and
What is?
this is
Oh,
No,
that's a
three
setup. You have two
laptops and
laptops.
monitor. Yeah,
yeah,
setup.
this is a open world game I'm building. Yes, I think it got turned off, but there was a so there's a report that I was building here on, and then I have also a collection of smartphones. So yeah, I have almost all the fancy phones that you can imagine, and that all got sponsored from the different projects that I built.
Shitanshu, also, Paolo said that he loves your desk setup. People love your
Yeah,
setup.
yeah, and my this laptop is very heavy, so I can't show you the number of hard drives that I have. But yeah, there are around 8 of them because all of these 3D projects they are very huge in size. So how this is how generally typical days go for me. Uh, uh, when you grow in the city, you start with learning and building individual applications. Then you start thinking of how to scale those applications. And once you scale up, then you have to think of how do you manage such large applications. So you require to always expand your setup there. The thing that I can tell you guys when coming to the AR VR industry is that, as Rajat mentioned, the first checkpoint that you guys need to go through is learn programming. And the reason why I was able to get so far in this industry is because I was from my ICC board. I had exposure to Java very early. And by the time I was an undergraduate in my college, I was already fluent in programming. So that's one thing. Other thing is that this technology looks very cool on the outside, and people feel everyone gets attracted to it. But you should have a passion also for 3D. And by passion, I means you should have some perspective of how creativity will look like. So if you are uh, just wonder that are there any products that can be anything that you have or website that anything you have looked at and think that if you can make it more creative, how you can enhance the user experience, because AR VR is whole, the whole ecosystem is about selling a user experience. And the obvious question that why do we need user experience? So the reason that I can tell you, and it's on a very basic level, it's that the whole idea of building computers and computing was that We have complex information outside in the world. How we can process those information and build meaningful things for us. So the idea behind AR VR is the visualization layer. So you have one complex abstract data information outside everywhere scattered. How do you pack it and present it in a format that our brains are able to understand it very correctly? So someone asked about safety in self-driving cars. Uh, there are ways that you can that can be shown through a graph that your chart the safety index is falling or increasing. That's one way. A good way in AR is to show that your car is becoming red, your driving tracks are becoming yellow green. So on the other hand, that the experience is much more immersive and it becomes easier for your brain to perceive. So that's the greatest ground for AR, VR. And if you are thinking of entering this industry, keep at the back of your mind that it's not the only technology you will be learning. You have to also learn how to you build an experience out of it. So some when people will say that people will come to you, I need this thing in VR, I need this thing in AR, I want an app. Always attack a problem as an experience, never as just a problem that you are solving it in a couple of steps. Third thing I will tell you is that learn Unity and C Sharp. So the reason why I was able to translate from games, VR, AR, MR, HoloLens, everything is because my core strength was Unity, and 90% of this whole ecosystem is doing 3D work. So when we say we go for VR, only the input layer changes. When we go for MR, the input layer again changes to hands and other things. For mobile, the input layer only changes. 90% of your 3D programming remains the same. So if you are good in Unity and C Sharp, you can attack any of these HDKs, fields without problem. And then the fourth thing I will say is that always keep an eye out and see on LinkedIn what in case studies industries have been implementing. So that's the best way to go for AR VR because when you will enter the industry, you will get to know that it's not only about building applications and experiences, but in corporate sector, there's a very important term that is known as ROI, return on investment index attached to it. And people will always push and ask that why do we need AR VR? The first question that you will be asked that why do you need AR VR, and how does it compare with something traditional that we have? Like Emilios give a very good example of education. So we all know that we have textbooks, we have website, we have videos, we have a lot of things already there for education. But what's the need for AR VR? The reason is that for us it's not very interactive. Our brains are not able to comprehend the information that is there through books, videos. There's a very specific reason. People say that we retain only 10 to 20% of that information. And there's a proper research out there that tells that immersive, where the user himself participates, he retains 70% of that information. So look out for that question that well. Think from a holistic perspective, not just from a product perspective that you can search and do. Think why
Tantra,
you are.
sorry, I wanted to touch on that. Imagine before COVID, there was also a big need for students to have more engaging content.
Yes.
Okay, students were just fed up of 2D content, and what has
Yes.
happened is because of the current climate, it's now accelerated that demand to such a level where we are just going to we're only seeing the beginning of what is going to, and I
What's
just
the
think it's
journey?
great because students have a tough time at the moment. They've been at home. Some students don't have family support networks. They could be lonely, and it's
Yes.
tough. So the more that can be done to use these technologies to help students, the better. 100%.
Yes. And this is going to be the future, guys. The reason was that let's pick up the generations of computing. You have big mainframe computers, you have desktop computers and your apps, then they become more portable to laptops, laptops became more portable to mobile phones. So now what you used to do with a web app, now you can do it with a mobile app. So things are transitioning to a direction where everything that you do in a 2D app will now go through a 3D app.
Yeah.
So there will be a
And,
variable, there will be an immersive experience for whatever you do,
yeah.
ranging
And
from social.
remember everyone, connectivity,
Yeah.
wait till 5G, is rolled out globally and the networks are mature. And then, if you look at, the hyper connected
Mm.
world, which is where we're going to, if you look at the eight key technologies, you've got augmented reality, you've got virtual reality,
Mm.
you've got 3D printing, drones, robotics, 5G, IoT, and there's another one that I forgot. There's another one. It'll come back to me. But yeah, and once these technologies start to mature, the connectivity is really going to allow us to maximize the experience potential of these technologies. We really haven't seen anything yet.
Yes. We are in a early stage. Like think of this as cloud technologies 10 years ago or smartphones 10 years ago.
Yeah, but look, it's not easy. I'll give you an example. My mother, for instance, struggles to put on a headset. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
um, she gets nausea, she gets sick, she gets headaches. So you know, VR isn't necessarily going to be for everyone. Okay, so it's important for people to understand that, and it's important for people to just take their time when they get we get the opportunity to try experiences, just to take their time, because it's if not used in the right way, you could harm yourself, and you don't want to do that. And I think that's what's fantastic about AR and WebXR, because let's face it, not everyone can put on a headset, but people will have access to either smartphones, laptops, etc. So yeah, hopefully there is something to suit everyone's needs. I remember the first time I was on one of the first times I put on a headset, I remember going on a roller coaster. I was on the Has anyone tried the roller coaster? I was sick. I
Yeah,
got a headache. My head was spinning.
I
Yeah.
tried that on Google Cardboard. You tried that in Oculus Quest 2?
Christy, yes, yes.
I tried that in Google Cardboard. Yeah, it is. I know.
Oh, I got a headache. I had to sit down and have a glass of water.
Yeah, motion sickness is one of the things that we have, and the way they
Yeah.
solved is that not this put a dot outside there and tell that if you are having motion sickness, just concentrate on this point. So a lot, as I said, user experience is a very key thing. Beside doing technology, you should understand the user experience constraints of doing these technologies. And once you are good with 3D engine, you will automatically understand the constraints of all the ecosystem out there.
Yeah.
Uh,
And learning design is again a different subject altogether. Like there is something called I learned designing UX designing for AR VR via Interaction Design Foundation. So you have this course called How to Design for AR VR in Interaction Design Foundation. You can definitely refer to that. It's Interaction Design Foundation actually covers a lot of different other courses as well. It's not just regarding AR VR. It's the whole concept of design structured such that you'll develop that thinking for UX design, as well as I kind of developed a lot of respect for designers as well.
Yeah.
It's not just the engineering side. It's The engineering side is important, but the design part, it's incredibly
It's
important as well.
fundamental. Yeah, no, of course. And if you are a developer if we look at the job specs we receive, especially for developers, candidates with a strong design experience or background are strongly preferred. So
yeah,
don't.
and
So I was going to say,
as
students, don't feel too worried about not specializing on one or two, specific areas. Just try to get as much exposure as you can, where you can, and going back to that point for passion and commitment, if you get the opportunity to jump on open source projects, do it. Really just take advantage of what you can and push yourself. Build your online presence. Work on your portfolio, look on your social media, and your LinkedIn, your Twitters. It's really, really important to stand out, because you never know. Your next employer may reach out to you directly because they've seen some of the magic that you've posted. So, just keep that in mind.
Almost all my internships, all my opportunities, it has come through LinkedIn.
See?
Yeah.
That is how it is.
And for me, whenever I have talked to people, my hiring managers have always asked me that, hey, always the question had been that we are not big. Can you do it on your own, or can you do it with a small team? And I've always said yes, that I can do it. So
Yeah.
uh, always think it from a product perspective, what you are going to build, and put yourself in the shoes of the users for what whom you are building, and you will automatically succeed. There will be things that you yourself will discover that this should be the part of your app, and you will try to implement on your own, and you will go through that curve, and you will grow by yourself.
Yeah. And look, everyone, you're not alone. If
Yeah.
anyone after this call, I think we'll post our, LinkedIn mediums there, so anyone can reach out to us directly. Just reach out to us.
Yeah, reach out to us.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
thank you, Shatanshu sir, Rajat sir, and Emilios for presenting, coming over and talking about so many different type of things, creating this session very informative. So, and for the participants who are waiting for the giveaway, here it is. So, just take a screenshot of the session. You can take it right now also, and post it over to the LinkedIn by tagging immersive search and using hashtag that is DaeDarus hack, and we will be doing the giveaway shortly. So if you haven't checked out or been a part of the DaeDarus, please come over our hackathon. The website address is in the link of the description. So please go ahead there and join the DaeDarus. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining and giving us your valuable time.
Bye.
I guess Emilios is muted.
I'm muted. I was going to say, Animesh, Shitanshu, Raja, thank you to everyone in the audience as well. Thank you for taking the time to be with us, and have an awesome weekend. Enjoy.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you very much.